I watched Genevieve walk into my grandmother's flagship pizzeria like she owned it, her heels clicking against the tile floor I'd mopped 1,000 times as a kid. She didn't know I was there, hidden in the back office, watching through the security camera feed. What I saw in the next 60 seconds made my blood run cold. She was meeting someone, a man in an expensive suit, and they were laughing about something. Then, she handed him an envelope. My phone buzzed. It was my grandmother's accountant with a message that would change everything. Matt, we need to talk, now. If you want to see how a billion-dollar pizza empire nearly crumbled because I trusted the wrong person, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below. You won't believe where this goes. 3 months earlier, everything seemed perfect. I was sitting in Grandma Rosa's penthouse overlooking the city, surrounded by the smell of her famous garlic knots that she still insisted on making herself, despite having 200 locations across the country. "Matthew, I'm tired," she said, setting down her wine glass. 78 years old, and I still wake up at 4 in the morning thinking about dough ratios. "You love it though," I said, smiling at her. I did love it. Past tense, baby. She reached across and grabbed my hand. "I want to travel. I want to see the world before my knees completely give out. But I can't do that if I'm worrying about the business every second." I knew where this was going. "Grandma, I'm not ready. I'm only 29 and I barely know how to." "Not you, sweetheart. Not yet." She squeezed my hand. "I'm thinking of bringing in someone to manage operations. Someone we trust. Someone in the family, in a way." My stomach dropped. "You mean Genevieve?" "She's brilliant, Matt. You said so yourself. Harvard MBA. 5 years at that consulting firm. And she loves you. When you love someone in this family, you're family." I had said those things about Genevieve. We'd been dating for 2 years, and on paper, she was perfect. Smart, ambitious, beautiful. My friends were jealous. My mother loved her. And yes, I'd mentioned to Grandma Rosa that Genevieve had been complaining about her consulting job. How she wanted something more entrepreneurial. "I don't know, Grandma. The business and personal life, mixing them, it feels risky." "Life is risky, Matthew. I came to this country with $40 and a pizza recipe. That was risky. This is just good sense. She's qualified, she's motivated, and she'll have guidance from me and the board. What could go wrong?" Famous last words. The announcement was made at our monthly family gathering. About 40 people crammed into Grandma Rosa's penthouse, eating pizza and arguing about sports like we always did. When Grandma clinked her glass and made the announcement, the room went quiet. "I'm stepping back," she said, her voice strong despite her age. "And I'm promoting Genevieve to Chief Operating Officer. She'll be managing day-to-day operations of all locations." My cousin Vicky caught my eye from across the room. She looked concerned. Vicky had been working in operations for 5 years, grinding her way up from assistant manager. I could see the hurt on her face. After the announcement, she cornered me in the kitchen. "Really, Matt? Your girlfriend of 2 years gets to jump ahead of people who've been bleeding for this company? Vicky, it wasn't my decision. But you didn't fight it, did you?" She shook her head. "Mark my words, this is going to blow up. I've worked with Genevieve on 2 projects. She's smart, sure, but she's also ruthless. And she doesn't understand pizza. She doesn't understand this family." "You're just jealous," I said, immediately regretting it. Vicky's face hardened. "You're going to remember this conversation, Matt, sooner than you think." She walked away, and I felt like an idiot. But I pushed the feeling down. Genevieve was my girlfriend. I had to support her. The first month went smoothly. Genevieve threw herself into the role with the intensity she brought to everything. She was at the office by 6, leaving after midnight most days. When we did see each other, she was exhausted but excited. Your grandmother built something amazing, but there's so much room for optimization, she said one night, lying in bed with her laptop balanced on her knees. The supply chain alone could save us millions. Just don't change the recipes, I joked. People have killed for less. She laughed, but there was something distant in it. Of course not. Of course not. I'm not stupid, Matt. Month 2 was when I started noticing things. Small things at first. Genevieve would get calls late at night and step out of the room. She'd close her laptop quickly when I walked by. Once, I saw a text notification flash on her phone. Meeting confirmed. Keep this quiet. Who was that? I asked casually. Just supplier stuff. Boring business things. She kissed my cheek. Nothing for you to worry about. But I was worrying, and I wasn't the only one. My Uncle Carl called me on a Tuesday afternoon. Matt, we need to talk about Genevieve. What about her? She's making changes. Big changes. Without consulting anyone. She's renegotiated contracts with 3 of our oldest suppliers. Fired 2 regional managers. And she's been in closed-door meetings with some investment group I've never heard of. Maybe she's just being efficient. Grandma gave her authority to... Matt, your grandmother gave her authority to manage, not to dismantle. Something feels off. I'm not the only one saying it. Talk to her. You're the only one she might actually listen to. That night, I tried. Jen, Uncle Carl mentioned you've been making some big changes. She stiffened. Your Uncle Carl doesn't understand modern business practices. We can't run a company like it's 1985 anymore. But these suppliers, they've been with us for decades. There's loyalty, relationships. Loyalty doesn't show up on a balance sheet, Matt. Her voice had an edge I'd never heard before. I'm trying to save this company money, make it more profitable. Isn't that what I was hired to do? You were hired to manage operations, not restructure the entire company. Maybe the entire company needs restructuring. She grabbed her bag. I have an early meeting tomorrow. I'm going to stay at my place tonight. She left, and I sat there feeling like I'd just fought with a stranger. Week 10 was when everything started falling apart. I got a call from Dave, one of our oldest franchise owners in Chicago. Matt, what the hell is going on? I just got a notice that my supply costs are going up 40%. 40%! And the new supplier's pizza sauce tastes like cardboard. I've had 3 customers complain already. What? That can't be right. Let me look into it. But it was right. Genevieve had switched suppliers across the board to some company called Vivanco Foods. When I searched for them online, I found almost nothing. No website, no reviews. Just a basic business registration. I called 6 more franchise owners. They all had the same story. Higher costs, lower quality, and no explanation. I burst into Genevieve's office without knocking. We need to talk. Now. She looked up from her computer, annoyed. I'm in the middle of something. I don't care. What is Vivanco Foods, and why are we doing business with them? They offered us better terms. It's all in the reports. Better terms? Our franchisees are paying more for worse products. That's not better terms. Short-term adjustment period. It'll stabilize. She turned back to her computer. Trust me. Stop saying that. I slammed my hand on her desk. Every time someone questions you, you say, trust me. But you're not giving anyone a reason to trust you. She stood up slowly, her face cold. You know what your problem is, Matt? You're still thinking like a mom-and-pop pizza shop. This is a multi-million-dollar business now. If you and your family can't handle that, maybe you should sell. The word hung in the air, like poison. Sell? It's just an option, one that some people have been exploring. What people? What are you talking about? Her phone rang. She looked at the screen and her expression changed. I have to take this. Genevieve, we'll talk later. She answered the phone and turned her back to me. Yes, everything is on schedule. I walked out, feeling sick. Something was very, very wrong. That night, I couldn't sleep. At 2 in the morning, I drove to the original pizzeria, the one Grandma Rosa had opened 50 years ago. I had a key. I let myself in and sat in the dark dining room, surrounded by photos of my family. My grandmother, as a young woman, covered in flour. My grandfather, who died before I was born. My mother as a teenager, making her first pizza. This wasn't just a business. This was our history, our legacy. And I'd handed it to someone who was treating it like a corporate acquisition. My phone buzzed. It was Vicky. Check your email. Now, I opened my email and found a message with no subject line. Inside was a PDF, a contract between Vivanco Foods and Genevieve personally. She was getting a 15% commission on every order. She was making money off the very deals that were hurting our franchisees. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. But that wasn't even the worst part. At the bottom of the email, Vicky had written, "There's more. Meet me at Grandma's tomorrow at noon. Bring proof of everything you have. We need to tell her before it's too late." I spent the rest of the night gathering documents, emails, anything I could find. And the more I looked, the worse it got. I showed up at Grandma Rosa's penthouse at 11:45, my hands shaking as I clutched a folder full of documents. Vicky was already there, sitting at the dining table with her own stack of papers. She looked like she hadn't slept either. "Where's Grandma?" I asked. "Getting dressed. She knows something's wrong." Vicky pushed a document across the table to me. "Look at this." I pulled the financial reports from the last 2 months. Genevieve's been moving money around. Small amounts at first, but it's adding up. I scanned the spreadsheet. 50,000 here, 75,000 there, all labeled as consulting fees or operational restructuring costs. But there were no details about what these costs were actually for. "This is embezzlement," I whispered. "I think it's worse than that." Vicky pulled out another document. "I have a friend who works in commercial real estate. She told me that Vivanco Foods is owned by a holding company. And that holding company is owned by Apex Capital Group." I don't understand. Who's Apex Capital? They're corporate raiders, Matt. They buy struggling businesses, strip them for parts, and sell off the pieces. And 3 weeks ago, Genevieve had a 2-hour lunch meeting with their CEO. The room started spinning. No, she wouldn't. Wouldn't she? Vicky's voice was hard. Think about it. She switches us to expensive, low-quality suppliers. Franchisees start struggling. Profits drop. The company looks like it's failing. Then Apex comes in with a lowball offer to save us. They buy it cheap, fire everyone, and sell the real estate and brand name for triple what they paid. But why would Genevieve do that? Check page 3 of the contract I sent you last night. I pulled out my phone and opened the PDF again. On page 3, in small print, was a clause I'd missed. Upon successful acquisition by Apex Capital Group, consultants will receive 2.5% of transaction value as finder's fee. If they bought Grandma's business for even half of what it was worth, Genevieve would walk away with millions. The bedroom door opened, and Grandma Rosa walked out. She looked smaller, somehow, older. "Okay, you two, tell me everything." For the next 30 minutes, Vicky and I laid it all out. The suspicious contracts, the meetings with Apex Capital, the kickbacks, The deteriorating product quality. The franchise owners who were already talking about breaking their contracts. Grandma Rosa didn't say a word. She just sat there, her hands folded on the table, her face unreadable. When we finished, she was quiet for a long moment. "Matthew," she finally said, her voice steady, "do you love this girl?" The question caught me off guard. I don't know anymore. I thought I did. That's not what I asked. I thought about Genevieve, the way she used to laugh at my jokes, the way she'd hold my hand during movies, the way she'd told me she wanted to build a life with me. Then I thought about the cold stranger in that office, telling me maybe we should sell. "No," I said quietly, "I don't think I ever really knew her." Grandma Rosa nodded slowly. "Then here's what we're going to do. Vicky, I want you to call an emergency board meeting for tomorrow morning. Don't tell Genevieve. Matthew, I need you to do something harder." "What?" "Tonight, you're going to act like everything is normal. Take Genevieve to dinner. Be charming. Be the boyfriend she thinks she has wrapped around her finger. And you're going to get her to tell you the truth." "Grandma, I can't. I can't sit across from her and pretend." "Yes, you can. Because if we're going to stop this, we need her to confess. We need her to think she's won." Grandma Rosa's eyes were fierce. "This is my life's work, Matthew. Everything I built. Everything I wanted to leave to you and your cousins and your children. I'm not letting some Harvard shark tear it apart without a fight." I called Genevieve at 2 o'clock. "Hey, I'm sorry about yesterday. I was stressed. Can I make it up to you? Dinner tonight at Marcello's?" There was a pause. "You're apologizing to me? I shouldn't have questioned you like that. You're right. I'm thinking too small. So let me take you to dinner, and we can talk about the future. Our future." Another pause. "Okay, 8 o'clock? Perfect. I love you." "Love you too," she said. But it sounded automatic, rehearsed. I spent the afternoon feeling sick. Vicky helped me set up a recording device, a tiny thing that looked like a pen. "Just get her talking," she said. "Once she thinks you're on her side, people like her can't help but brag." Marcello's was the fanciest Italian restaurant in the city, the kind of place where the cheapest bottle of wine cost $200. Genevieve showed up in a black dress I'd never seen before, her hair perfect, her makeup flawless. She looked like a woman who was winning. "This is nice," she said, sliding into the booth across from me. "I was worried you were going to stay mad. I talked to Grandma today. She helped me see things more clearly." Genevieve's eyes sharpened. "Oh, what did she say?" "That maybe you're right. Maybe the business does need major changes. Maybe I've been too sentimental about the old ways." I reached across and took her hand. "I want to support you, Jen. I want to understand what you're building." She studied my face, trying to read me. "You mean that?" "I do. Tell me about your vision. Where do you see the company in 5 years?" For the next 20 minutes, she talked, and the more wine she drank, the more she revealed. She talked about streamlining operations and maximizing value and getting the company ready for a transition. "What kind of transition?" I asked, keeping my voice casual. "Well, your grandmother isn't getting any younger, and honestly, Matt, the family isn't equipped to run a business this size. It needs professional management." "Or," she trailed off. "Or what?" I asked. She leaned forward, her voice dropping. "Or it needs to be sold to someone who can really take it to the next level." "You've been thinking about this," I stated. "I've been exploring options, quietly. There's a group, very reputable, who've expressed interest. They see the potential that your family is missing." Apex Capital. Her face went white. "How do you know that name? Genevieve, are you setting us up to fail?" "No, God, no. Matt, listen to me. She grabbed both my hands. I'm trying to save you. Save your family. Your grandmother's business model is dying. The profit margins are shrinking every quarter. In 5 years, maybe less, you'll be bankrupt. I'm trying to get you out before that happens. Get you out with money in your pockets. And get yourself a nice finder's fee in the process. She pulled her hands back. So that's what this is. A setup. You brought me here to trap me. You trapped yourself. My voice rose and people at nearby tables turned to look. I lowered it to a harsh whisper. You're sabotaging my family's business, our legacy, for money. For our future, she hissed back. Do you know how much debt your grandmother is hiding? How many locations are barely breaking even? I'm not the villain here, Matt. I'm the only one being realistic. And when this sale goes through, you and I could walk away with enough money to start our own life. No more being under your grandmother's thumb. No more family drama. Just us. Is that what you think I want? To abandon my family? I think you want to be with me. And this is the price. Her voice turned cold. The deal is happening, Matt, with or without you. Apex is making their offer next week. And your grandmother, bless her heart, is going to take it. Because by then, the company will look so bad on paper that she'll think she has no choice. You really are a shark. She smiled, and it was the cruelest thing I'd ever seen. No, baby, I'm a winner, and you could be too if you'd stop being so sentimental. I stood up. We're done. The relationship, whatever this was, we're done. Matt, sit down. Don't be stupid about this. The only stupid thing I did was trust you and introduce you to my grandmother. I threw $300 on the table. That should cover your meal. Don't bother coming to the office tomorrow. You're fired. She laughed. You can't fire me. You're not on the board. You have no authority. Then I guess you'll find out tomorrow morning at the emergency board meeting. Her face went pale again. What meeting? The one where we're going to play this recording for everyone. The one where we're going to show them all the evidence of what you've been doing. The one where you're going to lose everything. I pulled out the pen and set it on the table. Her eyes went wide. You recorded me? Every word. Enjoy your dinner, Genevieve. I hope it was worth it. I walked out of that restaurant with my heart pounding and my hands shaking. But for the first time in weeks, I felt like I could breathe. The next morning, 15 people gathered in the conference room at the flagship location. The entire board, key franchise owners, our lawyers, and Genevieve, who showed up looking like she hadn't slept, wearing sunglasses inside. Grandma Rosa sat at the head of the table, and when everyone was seated, she pressed play on the recording. We listened to the whole thing. Genevieve's voice, clear as day, admitting to the plan. Talking about making the company look bad. About the deal with Apex Capital. About her finder's fee. When it finished, the room was silent. Miss Chen, our head lawyer, said, "Do you have anything to say in your defense?" "That recording is illegal," Genevieve said, but her voice shook. "You can't use it. This is a private company and a board meeting, not a courtroom," the lawyer replied. "We can absolutely use it to make employment decisions." "You're fired," Grandma Rosa said simply. "Effective immediately. Security will escort you out. You have 1 hour to collect your personal belongings from your office. If you set foot on any of our properties after that, we'll have you arrested for trespassing." "You can't do this," Genevieve stood up, her voice rising. "I have a contract. A contract you violated in about 17 different ways. We'll be pursuing legal action to recover the money you embezzled. And we'll be reporting your activities to the relevant authorities." Grandma Rosa's voice was ice. You tried to destroy my family. Did you really think there wouldn't be consequences? 2 security guards appeared at the door. This isn't over, Genevieve said, looking at me. You're going to regret this, Matt. I only regret not seeing who you really were sooner, I said quietly. They escorted her out. The room stayed silent for a long moment after she was gone. Well, Uncle Carl said, breaking the silence. That was dramatic. Now what? We've still got the mess she made to clean up. He was right. Over the next week, the real damage became clear. Genevieve had locked us into year-long contracts with Vivanco Foods. She'd fired 6 key managers and replaced them with people loyal to her, who all quit the moment she was gone. She'd changed vendor relationships that had taken decades to build. And worst of all, she'd planted seeds of doubt in the minds of 30 franchise owners who were now questioning whether the company was stable. I barely slept that first week. I was on the phone 16 hours a day, talking to franchise owners, trying to calm them down, trying to explain what happened without making the company sound like it was falling apart. Matt, I've got 3 locations. Maria from Dallas said on a call that Tuesday. I've invested my life savings into this. How do I know you guys aren't going to go under? Question. We're not going under, Maria. We caught the problem. We're fixing it. Yeah, but who's running operations now? Who's managing the day-to-day? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like chaos. She was right. We had no COO. We had no operations manager. We had Grandma Rosa, who was supposed to be retiring, working 18-hour days trying to plug holes. On Friday night, I found her in her office at midnight, her head in her hands. Grandma, you should go home. Get some rest. I can't rest, Matthew. We're hemorrhaging money. I just got off the phone with our bank. The financial damage from the last 3 months is worse than we thought. We're going to miss payroll next week if we don't figure something out. What? How is that possible? Genevieve wasn't just planning to make us look bad for a sale. She was actively stealing. She set up fake consulting companies and paid them hundreds of thousands of dollars, money that went straight into her accounts. Our lawyers are trying to recover it, but that could take months, years maybe. I sat down hard. So what do we do? She looked at me, and for the first time in my life, I saw fear in my grandmother's eyes. I don't know, baby. For the first time in 50 years, I don't know. That weekend, I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about those photos in the original pizzeria. My grandfather's smile, my grandmother's dreams, everything they'd built. Everything that was about to disappear because I'd brought a snake into our family. Sunday night, Vicky called me. Family meeting, my apartment, now, and bring ideas because we need a miracle. When I got there, half the family was already crammed into her tiny living room. Uncle Carl, my cousin Brian, Nick, who managed our Brooklyn locations, even my mother, who usually stayed out of business stuff. Okay, Vicky said, pacing. We need to fix this fast. The bank is breathing down our necks. Franchise owners are panicking, and we've got no leadership structure. So, ideas. Anyone? We could take out a loan, Brian suggested. Banks won't touch us right now, Uncle Carl said. Our financials look like a dumpster fire. What about investors? Nick asked. That's just inviting another Genevieve situation, I said. No, we need to fix this ourselves, as a family. How? My mother asked. Matt, honey, we're all trying our best, but none of us have the experience to run a company this size. Then maybe we need to make it smaller. Everyone turned to look at me. Think about it, I continued, the idea forming as I spoke. We've got 200 locations. Half of them are barely profitable. What if we cut back, focus on the ones that work? Get back to basics. To what made Grandma's Pizza special in the first place? That's insane, Brian said. You want to shrink the company? I want to save it. And I think the only way to do that is to remember why we started this in the first place. It wasn't about being the biggest. It was about being the best. Uncle Carl was nodding slowly. The locations that are struggling, they're the ones Genevieve pushed us to open. Expansion for expansion's sake. No thought about whether the markets could support them. Exactly, I said. So we close those. We focus on our core markets. We go back to Grandma's original suppliers, even if it costs more. We rebuild the quality. We rebuild trust. That's a huge risk, Vicky said. Contracting instead of growing? Investors hate that. The market hates that. I don't care what the market thinks, I said, surprising myself with how firm my voice was. I care about saving what my grandparents built, even if that means it looks different than we thought it would. My mother spoke up. Rosa needs to hear this, all of it. Matt, this is your plan. You need to be the one to tell her. The next morning, I drove to Grandma Rosa's penthouse. My hands were sweating the whole way up in the elevator. When she opened the door, she looked exhausted. Matthew, it's 6 in the morning. I know, I couldn't wait. I have an idea, a plan to save the company, but you're not going to like it at first. She let me in and made coffee while I explained everything. The closures, the refocus on quality, the return to our roots. She listened without interrupting, her face unreadable. When I finished, she was quiet for a long time. You want to undo 15 years of expansion, she finally said. I want to undo 3 months of sabotage and 15 years of losing what made us special. People will say we failed, that we couldn't compete. Let them say it. I'd rather run 50 great pizzerias than 200 mediocre ones. She looked at me, really looked at me, and I saw something shift in her expression. You know what? You're right. I built this company on the idea that quality matters more than quantity. When did I forget that? When you got tired, when you wanted to rest. There's no shame in that, Grandma. But there is shame in letting someone like Genevieve almost destroy it. She set down her coffee cup. Okay, we do it your way. But Matthew, if we're gonna make this work, I need you to step up. Really step up. Not as my grandson, as a leader. I don't know if I'm ready. Neither did I when I opened my first restaurant, but I learned, and you will too. Because you care about this. You care about the family. And that matters more than any MBA. We spent the next 2 weeks implementing the plan. We called every franchise owner personally and explained what we were doing. Some were angry. 3 threatened lawsuits, but most of them understood. They'd seen the quality decline. They'd felt the squeeze from the new suppliers. If you're really going back to the original way of doing things, Maria from Dallas said, then I'm in. That's what I signed up for in the first place. We closed 47 locations. Every single one was a gut punch. People lost their jobs. We took a massive financial hit. The business press wrote articles about how Grandma Rosa's empire was crumbling. But the franchise owners who stayed, they started seeing the difference immediately. We went back to our original suppliers, even though it cost more. We brought back the old recipes. We retrained every employee on Grandma Rosa's standards. And slowly, customers started noticing. I don't know what you guys did, one review said, but Rosa's pizza tastes like it used to, like someone actually cares about what they're serving. 3 months after Genevieve was fired, we were still in trouble financially. But we were stable. The bleeding had stopped. Franchise owners stopped calling with panic in their voices. Some of them even started calling to say thank you. Then, on a Thursday afternoon, something unexpected happened. I was in the original location, helping cover a lunch rush, because we were short-staffed. When a man in an expensive suit walked in, he looked around the restaurant like he was seeing something precious. "You're Matthew, right? Rosa's grandson?" "Yeah, can I help you?" "I'm Jacob Reeves. I own Reeves Food Group. We operate about 300 restaurants across the country. I've been watching what you've been doing here." My stomach dropped. "We're not for sale." He laughed. "I'm not here to buy you. I'm here to tell you that what you're doing is remarkable. In an industry that's all about scale and shortcuts, you're choosing quality. You're choosing integrity. And I wanted to shake your hand and tell you to keep going. Companies like yours are rare." "Thank you. That means a lot. I also wanted to give you this." He handed me a business card. "If you ever need advice, capital, partnership opportunities, anything, call me. No strings attached. I just like seeing family businesses survive." After he left, I stood there holding his card, feeling something I hadn't felt in months. Hope. That night, I had dinner with Grandma Rosa at the original pizzeria. Just the two of us, sitting in the same booth where she used to take me when I was a kid. "You saved it," she said simply. "You saved everything I built. We saved it, all of us together." "No, Matthew, this was you. You saw what needed to be done, and you did it, even though it was hard, even though people doubted you." She reached across and squeezed my hand. "Your grandfather would be so proud. I'm so proud." I felt tears prick my eyes. "I'm sorry I brought her into our lives. I'm sorry I trusted her." Don't apologize for having a good heart. Apologize for not listening to your gut sooner, maybe, but not for trusting. The world needs people who trust. She smiled. You just need to be smarter about who you give that trust to. Lesson learned. Is it though? Because I heard from Vicky that you've been beating yourself up pretty badly. Refusing to date. Refusing to let anyone new into your life. I don't want to make the same mistake twice. Matthew, the mistake wasn't loving someone. The mistake was ignoring all the red flags because you didn't want to see them. Do better next time. But don't close yourself off. Promise me. I promise. Eventually. She laughed. That's good enough for now. We ate pizza and talked about the future. About the company. About family. About all the things that mattered. So what's next for you? She asked. Now that we're stable again. I don't know. I guess I need to figure out what I want to do with my life. You're doing it, baby. You're running this company. Maybe not with an official title yet, but everyone looks to you now. The family, the franchise owners, even the employees. You stepped up when we needed you most. You want me to be COO? I want you to be whatever you want to be. But yes, I think you should take the role. Learn it properly this time. Not from someone trying to destroy us. From someone who spent 50 years building something real. 6 months later, I stood in front of the mirror in my apartment, adjusting my tie. It was the day of the annual company meeting, and for the first time, I'd be standing on that stage as Chief Operating Officer. My phone buzzed. A text from Vicky. You ready for this? I typed back, no, but I'm doing it anyway. The venue was packed. Every franchise owner we had left. Key employees, family members, the press. Everyone wanted to see if we'd really survived the Genevieve disaster. or if we were just delaying the inevitable collapse. Grandma Rosa opened the meeting, and the room went silent. She looked stronger than she had in months, healthier, happier. "A year ago, I made a decision that nearly destroyed everything I built," she said, her voice carrying through the room. "I trusted the wrong person. I let ambition and credentials blind me to character. And it almost cost us everything." The room was so quiet you could hear people breathing. But it didn't destroy us, because this company isn't built on one person's decisions. It's built on family, on loyalty, on people who care about doing things right, even when it's hard, even when it costs more, even when everyone tells you you're stupid for not taking the easy way out. She paused, looking out at the crowd. "We're smaller now than we were a year ago. We have fewer locations, lower revenue on paper, but we're stronger. We're profitable again. Our customer satisfaction scores are the highest they've been in a decade. And we're growing again. But this time, we're growing smart." Applause started, scattered at first, then building. None of that would have been possible without my grandson, Matthew. He saw what needed to be done when I was too tired and too hurt to see it clearly. He made the hard calls. He led this family through the worst crisis we've ever faced. And today, I'm officially announcing what many of you already know. Matt is our new Chief Operating Officer. And someday, not too far from now, he'll be running this entire company. The applause was deafening. I walked onto the stage, my heart pounding, and stood next to my grandmother. "Thank you," I said, my voice shaking slightly. "I won't lie to you. This year was hell. There were nights I thought we wouldn't make it. Nights I wanted to give up. But every time I thought about quitting, I'd remember why we do this. It's not about building an empire. It's not about having the most locations or the highest stock price. It's about making pizza that matters, food that brings families together, that creates memories, that means something." I looked out at the crowd and found the faces of the franchise owners who'd stuck with us. Maria from Dallas, wiping tears from her eyes. Dave from Chicago, grinning. All the people who'd believed in us when it would have been easier to walk away. "We're going to keep growing," I continued. "But we're going to do it right. Every new location will meet our standards. Every franchisee will be someone who gets what we're about. Quality over quantity. Family over profit. And if that means we grow slower than our competitors, I'm okay with that. Because I'd rather build something that lasts than something that just looks impressive." The applause came again, and this time I felt it in my chest. These people believed in us, in me, and I wasn't going to let them down. After the meeting, I was surrounded by people wanting to shake my hand, ask questions, share their stories. It was overwhelming and wonderful and exhausting. Then I saw someone standing at the edge of the crowd. A woman about my age, dark hair, warm smile. She was holding a notepad. "Matt, hi. I'm Esther Wu. I'm a reporter with Food Industry Magazine. Could I grab a few minutes for an interview?" "Sure, let me just—" "Actually," she interrupted, "I was hoping we could do it somewhere quieter. Maybe over coffee? I want to do a real deep dive on how you guys pulled off this turnaround. It's a hell of a story." Something in the way she said it made me pause. Professional, direct, but also genuinely curious. Not looking for gossip or scandal, looking for the real story. "Okay," I said. "There's a coffee shop 2 blocks from here. Give me 20 minutes to wrap up here?" "Perfect. I'll see you there." She walked away, and Vicky appeared at my elbow. Was that who I think it was? A reporter? Esther Wu. She's legit. Did a huge piece last year on how family businesses survive in corporate America. If she writes about us, it could be really good. Or really bad. With what you've accomplished, trust me, it'll be good. Vicky paused. She's also single. Just saying. Vicky, I'm just saying. You promised Grandma you'd eventually let someone in again. Eventually doesn't mean today. But as I walked to the coffee shop 20 minutes later, I found myself thinking about it. About Genevieve and everything that had happened. About the walls I'd built up. About Grandma Rosa's words. Don't close yourself off. Esther was already there, sitting by the window with 2 coffees. I hope you like lattes, she said. I took a guess. I do, thanks. I sat down across from her. So, what do you want to know? Everything. She pulled out her notepad. But let's start with the obvious question. How does it feel, saving your family's company from someone you thought you loved? It was a gut punch of a question. But she asked it gently, not like she was trying to exploit the pain, but like she actually wanted to understand. Honestly, it still hurts, I said. Not because I miss her. I don't. But because I feel stupid for not seeing it sooner, for putting my family at risk. But you fixed it. That has to count for something. It counts for everything, but it doesn't erase the mistake. She nodded, writing something down. Your grandmother said something interesting in there, about credentials versus character. Do you think business schools are teaching people the wrong things? And just like that, we were off, talking about business, family, values, what matters in life. She asked smart questions, challenged my assumptions, made me think. 2 hours later, we were still sitting there, the coffee shop about to close. I should let you go, she said, closing her notepad. But thank you. This is going to be a great piece. When does it come out? Couple months. I'll send you a copy before it publishes. She stood up, then hesitated. This is probably unprofessional, but would you want to get dinner sometime? Not for the article. Just because I'd like to. I felt that familiar panic rising. The fear of trusting someone new, of making another mistake. But I also heard Grandma Rosa's voice. Do better next time, but don't close yourself off. Yeah, I said, surprising myself. I'd like that too. She smiled, really smiled, and it felt like something shifting, something opening up. Good, I'll text you. After she left, I sat there for a moment, alone in the coffee shop. My phone buzzed with messages. Franchise owners thanking me. Family members congratulating me. Vicky sending about 12 texts, asking how the interview went. But I just sat there, thinking about the year I'd had. The betrayal, the fight, the victory, the lessons learned. I thought about Genevieve, wherever she was now. Our lawyers had recovered some of the money she'd stolen, but she'd disappeared. No criminal charges because she'd covered her tracks too well. Just gone, leaving destruction in her wake. And I thought about Esther, about the possibility of trusting someone new, about maybe, eventually, being open to love again. My phone rang. Grandma Rosa. Hey, Grandma. Matthew, how are you feeling? Tired, happy, scared, hopeful. All of it at once. She laughed. That's called living, baby. Get used to it. I'm trying. Good. Now go home. Get some rest. Tomorrow, we start building the future. The right way this time. The right way, I repeated. I like the sound of that. I walked out of the coffee shop, into the evening air. The city was alive around me. Lights, people, possibilities. And somewhere in the distance, I could smell pizza. Good pizza. The kind that matters. I smiled and started walking home. If this story resonated with you, hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment telling me about a time you had to rebuild after someone betrayed your trust. And smash that like button if you believe family and integrity matter more than fast profits. Thanks for sticking with me through this journey. See you in the next one.